Hey, welcome back. On my way home, I'm Miss Mandy, and today I'm bringing you news while I eat ice cream. So, the biggest news of today is I got a new job, and I'm real excited about it. I think I'll be real good at it. Not to mention, this is a finance channel, so full disclosure about finances of this job, it's almost double what I was making in my prior job. I'm really excited about that part. And yeah, just waiting for all good things to happen. If you're really interested to know how I got this job and what industry it's in, I can tell you the whole story. Just leave me a comment down below if that's something you want to hear about. But really the biggest impact it's going to have is my posting schedule. I was doing Mondays and Tuesdays, Wednesdays, mostly at my prior job because those were the days I drove home from work. And this new job, I actually work with my mom, which is nice. And we'll be driving together several days a week. So probably do some Tuesday and Thursday videos, but I really have yet to see how exactly the schedule is going to pan out. So bear with me as I get this figured out. I'm not, I'm not giving up on anything. I'm just, figuring out stuff. Anyway, on to the financial news. So the biggest one and first one I want to touch on is that student loans have been postponed again. If you haven't heard this already, student loans have once again been postponed till September 1st this time. I think it's the 6th or 7th time that student loan repayment has been postponed due to COVID-19. This all started when COVID hit and they postponed everything. They put everything that was government backed into forbearance. Now, if you had refinanced your loans prior to this, consolidated your loans prior to this, you probably have been paying this whole time because those are private loan companies, not federal student loans. But if you hold federal student loans, you're on an income-driven repayment plan through them, like we are, likely you haven't been paying, unless you really wanted to, you haven't been paying student loans. I did a video on this, you can go check it out, but really the gist of it is now's a great time to repay it if you have the extra cash, or if not, if you're just, getting your financial house in order, now's a great time to focus on bringing more cash flow in. The second thing I want to talk about is inflation. I recently did a video about how I think inflation is here to stay for a while. I know lots of people are really concerned about it, and I am too. Everything's more expensive with inflation. So go check out that video if you want to learn more about what inflation is. But it just keeps going up, and I predict it will keep going up for the rest of this year. So just kind of get used to that part of it. Again, with the student loan stop, might be a good time to keep that cash flow coming in to help mitigate all of the higher costs of everything else going on right now. Pardon me. With that, higher mortgage rates. The Fed recently raised federal interest rates 0.25%. But I think it is so super interesting how they've only raised the rates once, a minuscule amount, and mortgage rates have shot up. I did a refinance back in December. We got a rate of 3.6%. No, 3.2%. Sorry, 3.2%. Go watch my video on that if you want to know all about it, but we got a rate of 3.2%. My parents more recently, in March, did their refinance. They actually just closed this week on it, but they locked their rate in early March before the Fed met, before the Fed started raising interest rates, and they got 3.2%. Now theirs is not a 30-year mortgage. Theirs is a 15-year. Sometimes you can get lower interest rates for a 15-year, but theirs is a 30-year. Ours is a 30-year mortgage. Their rate's 3.2%. Our rate's 3.2%. Right now, rates are sitting at just under 5% for a 30-year mortgage, a little bit less for a 15-year mortgage. And I think it's crazy. It's crazy how much interest rates have shot up just with the anticipation of more inflation, with the anticipation of more rate increases from the Fed. And obviously, the banks are really taking advantage of that, trying to hedge off their costs ahead of time even. They're not even waiting for it to hit, which is, that's what you and me should be doing. We should be, hedging our bets and trying to get cash flow in ahead of time. Try to build a wall ahead of time. You know, your defenses are only so good once you trouble hits. You have to buy the insurance beforehand. You have to build the fort beforehand. And that's what the banks are doing. That's how we all should operate. So yeah, mortgage rates are going up. Housing prices in our area, at least what I've observed in our area, housing prices are not as crazy as they were about this time last year. Houses are still going really fast. Demand seems to be there still, but it doesn't seem like people are willing to pay quite as much, probably due partly to those interest rate increases, because, you know, now you get the same price a home, but you have to pay more for it because of the interest rate on your loan. So that's what I'm seeing, is that a couple houses are starting to drop. What I predict, and this is just an educated guess, of course this is all just educated guesses. Nobody can truly predict what's going to happen, if nothing has taught us that from the last couple years have, right? We couldn't predict a global pandemic. We couldn't predict the Ukrainian-Russian war. And now we can't predict any other unforeseen circumstances. So based on what we know right now, I would say, one, that inflation is here to stay at least through 2023, if not 2024. And another, that housing prices are going to kind of be a little higher through the summer because that's the busy time for real estate, but I think they'll start to go down when fall hits this year. I think even through the winter we'll start to see some prices drop. Maybe not back down to where they were pre-pandemic, like 2018 when we bought our house. Our house was worth $155,000 at the time. And when we appraised it recently for the refinance, it was appraised at $215,000. That's a crazy jump. But I predict that housing prices will go down a little bit starting fall of this year. And, you know, at least in my area. My area is nothing crazy. We're in Ohio. It's not like California, New York, where the housing prices are just through the roof. It's a pretty decent area to buy a large size house for not a lot of money. But yeah. Last piece of news is that President Biden is proposing a new tax bill, which mostly affects the rich. But why do I want to talk about it? Because eventually what affects the rich trickles down to the average Joe. I just learned this about the income tax, that it wasn't meant to tax people of a low income bracket. It was meant to tax people of a high income, high earners. And, you know, here we are, average Joe and Jane here, paying income taxes when it wasn't intended for us. That's usually where the burden falls, because that's where most of the population falls. So yeah, we might be in a lower income tax bracket, but keep in mind that what affects the rich today will affect everyone else tomorrow. And if it, you know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? So eventually it's going to come on down our way. So what is the tax? Well, it would raise taxes on, it would change the income tax brackets a little bit so that your high income earners are taxed more, and that bracket starts at a little bit of a lower rate. So, I'm going to do that. Don't want to get hit getting on the highway here. So yeah, that's one thing. Another thing is that, and this may affect you and me pretty soon, at least me, because my husband and I have said before, are starting a business, and Biden's bill would raise taxes on businesses as well. From 21%, I believe it was, to 28%, and that's incorporated businesses. So that would affect me, because while, you know, our business is not up and running yet, we're getting ready to, we're pushing it that way, and we want to start this year. So it would affect us now, even though we are not high income earners. And that's pretty much it. That's all the financial news I have for you today. And all the personal news, don't forget that I have a new schedule and I haven't quite figured it out yet. So just stay tuned. Hit that bell if you really want to be notified. And do hit the like button while you're at it. It really helps me out and helps my channel out, and I really appreciate it. I hope you liked it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.